Hello, and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin is a long-term chart. Just want to start with that to give you an idea of where we are. Overall, this is really the overall long-term chart. Next bull market target should take us to around 125 to 175K. This would be actually this wave here. We would talk about a fifth wave, of a larger degree, third wave, and it should escalate higher in the coming years. Not necessarily disregard the timeline. If I could deactivate it, I would. But yeah, this is sort of my view. And just to give you an idea, you know, that basically there is still a lot more to come. Also disregard, well, not disregard, but note the halving cycle. So the vertical lines are the halvings. April 24 is the next halving. So typically before the halving, you have a little bit of a dip. Yeah, we had that in 2020 as well. This might be the dip we see now before it then moves, okay? So let's go to the daily chart. Promise that I'm gonna try to make the transition a little bit clearer between the weekly, daily, and short-term charts. So give me some feedback if that's helpful. Basically, what we're looking at now on the daily chart is this structure here, yeah? Basically, if we put that onto the weekly chart here, the detail, we would say that we had here a wave 1, a wave 2, wave 3, 4, 5, off wave 5. I need to make that white. Yeah, and that this is basically another 1-2 setup, which I'm not going to put onto this chart. So this is the detail that we're now going to take a look at on the daily chart, basically zooming into this structure here. Yeah, and there we are. And this is the structure of the November 22 lows. So far, assumption is that these are the bear market lows, ended in a wave 4, as you could see on the weekly chart, wave 4. You see that on the daily chart as well. And this shows the structure very much tidied up because I wanted to create dedicated daily charts to give you a very clear view of the levels. They look cleaner. We got, you know, all the subwave structures are removed, and we only have them on the short-term charts. As a channel member, you get access to all these charts on TradingView. You get all these TradingView chart links that you can then use to copy them to your own TradingView, for example, or just use them for reference and observe if I make any changes live. It gives you the view, this chart, that the price, and I zoom in a little bit, the price here on the Bitcoin chart moved off the November lows in a wave 1, came down in a wave 2. This is currently being tracked as another 1-2 setup. And on this time frame, on the daily time frame, the primary scenario would be to see lower prices, yeah, to see lower prices deeper into this support area. However, as an alternative, there's always an alternative. The low is already in, but it would need to prove that to us. Currently, it doesn't appear likely. Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't appear likely. It is a likely scenario. Otherwise, I wouldn't say it as or I wouldn't highlight it as an alternative scenario. But I just don't have the evidence on the shorter time frame. Yeah, okay. So we've got very important support here around $24,700. That's the 50% retracement level of this move on the logarithmic chart. You can see it reacted to it already in June. And then we've got this support area, which I've highlighted as green because I believe it is an interesting long-term area to scale in potentially to get some exposure. Goes all the way down to 18K, below 18K. On the log chart, we would have to say this 1-2 setup fails, and we are going to head down to 8 to 10K. This is basically the bullish line. Try to make that very clear. Yeah, I also can't tell you if we're going to hold it or not. At the moment, I don't see that we go below it, but it is certainly a possibility, and you need to have it on the chart as a bearish option. But there is still plenty of support left. Plenty of support. Okay, so in the looking at the shorter time frame counts, it is currently expected for the price to follow through this structure, A wave, B wave, and then we're now in the C wave. And in the C wave, we have a wave 1 and a wave 2. Would be great to see the third wave, the fourth and the fifth, and come down into this region, maybe around about 22K. Be aware that a low could already technically be in. So, but it needs to show us that by giving us 5 waves up, 3 waves down. Breakout points, significant breakout points are here on the daily chart, $30,300 and 31,800 basically, which is the July high. Next bull market target, or well, that's not really the next bull market target, that's the target for this third wave, should this scenario work out. then it should take us into the region ideally between sort of 44K to 52K before we then get another wave 4 down, a wave 5 up, in a larger degree third wave. That might take us to 80 to 90K already, then a fourth wave down and a fifth wave up to complete this larger degree fifth wave that you've seen on the weekly chart of an even larger degree fifth, of an even larger degree third. Yeah, and that sort of takes us into the region around that already mentioned 115, 125 to 175K. That sounds a huge area now, and it is because the market is so volatile, but we will be able to calculate that more precisely once we see more of these subwave structures develop. Now let's go into the shorter time frame. So here you can see the reason why I wanted to take them out of the daily chart, because it is getting messy when we track all these microstructures. So basically what we're watching now is exactly this area. Yeah, this area. That's what we're watching now to the 4-hour chart. Yeah, and here you can see this yellow wave count is basically on this time frame the primary scenario, because we are in resistance still. Resistance remains at 27,480. Here we don't really have a change to previous videos. So wave 1 to the downside, wave 2 to the upside. It made a slightly higher high today, but it's still just respected resistance for now. Third wave down, fourth wave up, fifth wave down. Decent short trade setup, but not a very clear one. Yeah, Ethereum has a clearer one, but because Bitcoin's isn't very clear, I would not be too surprised if it continues the rally higher from here. Even though I'm not primarily watching for it, I prefer when things remain clear, and it would remain clear if the price just sells off from here. You can clearly see how difficult it is for the price to get higher. On the 4-hour chart, we also see a bearish divergence now on the RSI, on the relative strength index. Yeah, and it would need to break below 26,380, 26,390 to confirm to us that this third wave to the downside has started. This, what happens here in detail, is a bit ambiguous. It leaves a lot of room for interpretation. The problem that we have is that, as I said in the last video, Bitcoin didn't produce 5 waves down overnight. So it was not too much of a surprise that it followed higher, because we didn't get a very clear 5-wave move down. Okay, ETH had it, and ETH didn't make a new high. So you see how all that comes together. So yeah, but the situation is quite clear. Well, the situation is clear. The analysis is clear. It gives us very clear levels at the moment, but it just doesn't follow through to the downside. So again, as I highlighted, at the moment, as long as we are in resistance, the focus is on the downside. If the resistance starts to crack and the price breaks above 27,480, we start to focus more on the white wave count, which is bullish. But then you get to that sort of in-between space between invalidation of the yellow count and the white wave count hasn't filled 5 waves yet. That sort of gives you a 50-50 probability or something. So between both scenarios, so you get into that no man's land territory. The only way how this could really move higher, and I will then add a micro count if I have to for the white scenario, is basically, yeah, it can just work as some kind of a strange diagonal structure. So I prefer to keep things clear, so I'd like to see a breakdown, but yeah, you see the bulls aren't really strong enough, the bears aren't really strong enough. It's tricky, and maybe we're not going to see significant movement before tomorrow's interest rate decision. Yeah, so that's tomorrow, late tomorrow, UTC time. So yeah, that's my update about BTC. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter. You can find the links in the video description. And if you're interested in the channel membership at all, as a channel member, every Sunday you get access to our weekly live streams. Silver and gold members get access to Discord and Telegram chat rooms, and also the educational content section. There's a lot of educational content, audio lessons, a lot of commentary about mindset, trading mindset, psychology, and so on. You find all of that on Discord. And as a gold member, you get access to additional short-term market updates, especially valuable on very volatile days. Yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.